Emerald Green by Jonas, Laurel, and Samantha. The wind howls and screams as it whips towards her home. A cyclone of great magnitude is coming, and the reckoning that it shall bring will be nothing like they've seen before. Of course, they do not know this, and they can't predict how this traumatic experience will affect their young niece's mental state. Trauma is like a crack in a glass window in which it could shatter with one wrong move, or it can maintain its shape but be less than it was before. What happens when you experience a trauma that shakes you so thoroughly that your brain can't decide how to react? What happens when your brain decides that one facet of identity isn't enough, but the burden of one shall be split into many? There are several routes in which the brain might take, and in this story, a young heroine's brain decided to follow the yellow brick road of dissociative fugues, which is one of the children of something called dissociative identity disorder and sibling to dissociative amnesia. There's an easy way to illustrate what this all means. Dorothy, like most young people, loved to daydream. She wished she had the courage to do something other with her life, the mind to lead her down a path of something new, and the heart to stay true to the path that she longed for. The air smells different, and there's an electricity in the air as though something is coming. Uncle Henry and Aunt Em are yelling something at her, but she can't seem to hear it. They are gesturing at her now, pointing at the covered cellar. Toto takes flight, and with sudden dread she realizes that the force in the air is one of a tornado. Her heart begins to race, her mind begins to fog, and the heart hammering beneath her chest stops with the fear that she will lose him. A sudden pain throws her into the abyss, and it all goes black. She wakes up and thinks that this must be a dream, perhaps even an out-of-body experience of some sort. Something isn't right. Where is her family? Where is she? She picked up her furry companion and sludged through the molasses of her mind as she made her way to the front door. She creaked open and was faced with a world filled with blinding color and three figures that stood beyond her porch. Three different individuals. One looked like a scarecrow, another a tin man, and finally a lion. Something about them was so familiar, and yet they are strangers. The scarecrow looks at her critically and sighs. We long for a brain to let us imagine and realize a life worth living. We long to use such a brain to set our minds on a path worth having. He looked down between the five of them and then focused on Dorothy as she clung to her dog. We long for a way to cope with the hardships that we had faced and that we will face in our future. I only wish to help how I can, but I need your help in return. Dorothy just stared blankly at the scarecrow, unsure of what to say as she struggled to find the words. The Tin Man creaks out as if he has a rusted voice box. We long for a heart that holds true to our convictions, to love openly and freely, and the longing to stay true to our heart's desires. I can help you as much as I am able, but I need your help in return. Dorothy was moved by their speeches, and she turned to the final figure, the lion shaking with fear or perhaps conviction. The cowardly lion paces and moans out. We long for courage to let go of our fears, to stand up to our worries, and to face our obstacles head on. We no longer wish to cower and shut down when life becomes too much. We need your help, and you'll need ours. We can give you the support that we always have, but can help protect you from what is to come. If you can give us what we long for. The fog in her mind seemed to be clear and yet thicker than it ever was. She looked between them all and whispered, I need some air. Unsure of what to say, she sighs heavily and asks, If you are here to help me, how can I help you? All at once they replied, We must find the altar known as the Great Wizard of Oz. He has the answers to all the guidance we seek in order to help one another. She nodded before replying, Will he be able to help me find my way back? The Tin Man nods, the Scarecrow shrugs, and the lion simply paces. How do we get there? The Scarecrow nods toward the yellow brick road. She looked at their arms and made an indication to link them, making small comments about sticking together so they didn't end up getting lost. They all skipped along the road, passing forests of anxiety, past flying fears, and a cackling female voice, screeching about awful things that might happen or might not. Flashes of green and catch in her line of sight, and her heart filled with hope. An odd figure opens the door and looks at them warily before showing them inside. The other altars chattered all at once, different questions, different whispers, different demands, and the wizard shushed them all. What are you doing here? You are the core. You are the one who is meant to present, not to wander the realm of Oz. You three are meant to protect, not deviate. I am the host of this realm of altars known as Oz. I keep this place up and running while also keeping the darkness at bay. You must rely on your altars in order to keep yourself safe and sane. If you seek to return home, all you must do is ground yourself. Breathe and listen to your surroundings, and you might be able to leave. Dorothy was overwhelmed by this, closing her eyes, but tried to listen to his instructions. She breathed in, breathed out, and repeated. The voices that buzzed beyond her reach were starting to become clearer now. Dorothy. She rubbed her forehead, and the voices got louder. Dorothy. Breathe in, breathe out, repeat. The sound of her aunt's voice made her eyes widen in shock. Her aunt held her and Toto close while her uncle sat at the end of the bed with the eyes filled with relief. Aunt Em, what is going on? Has the storm passed? Her aunt nodded and kept whispering soothing words before looking at her and asking what went on when they kept begging for her to come back. Dorothy didn't really know how to reply to this. What happened to her again? This was all a dream, right?